Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today we're taking a deep dive into the Gospel of John.
Oh, John.
Yeah, it's like we've already gone through 3 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke.
Yeah.
So what makes John so unique? Why? Why another Gospel?
Well, it's interesting because early Christian writers really saw the 4 Gospels as kind of a cohesive narrative, like it's all telling the same story, but they're telling it from different perspectives. So you have Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and then you have John. They all have their own unique emphasis.
So it's like having 4 witnesses to the same event.
Exactly. They all see it, but they see it in their own way.
Okay, so what's John's unique angle? What's he bringing to the table that the others aren't?
Well, if you look at the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they tend to focus a lot on the actions of Jesus, a lot of the miracles, and a lot of that takes place in Galilee. But John, he shifts the focus. He focuses a lot on what happens in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And he really dives deep into Jesus' teachings.
So more teaching, less action, less miracles.
Well, he still has miracles, but they're very intentional. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But he actually omits certain key events that you find in the synoptics, like Jesus' baptism, even the temptation.
Wow. So he's really making some editorial decisions here, choosing what to include and what to leave out.
Exactly. And that really tells you something about what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
He really wants you to believe in Jesus as the Son of God. That's his whole purpose for writing this.
It's interesting you put it that way, because it makes it sound like John's gospel is like a carefully constructed argument.
It is.
It's leading you to a very specific conclusion.
It's leading you to a verdict.
Yes. Okay, so he's got a clear goal in mind. And it sounds like he's really intentional about how he's going to get you there.
Oh, absolutely. And again, the oldest piece of the New Testament we have, the earliest fragment, it's actually from John's gospel. It dates back to before 150 A.D.
Wow. So that means that John's gospel was circulating, it was impacting people really early on in the Christian movement.
Oh, absolutely. Very early on.
Okay, so we've got a unique perspective, a clear mission, and early influence. I'm ready to dive into the actual text.
Right.
Where do we start? What's the jumping off point for John's gospel?
Well, you have to start at the beginning. You have to start with those opening verses, John 1.1 to 18.
Okay, those famous lines. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Right.
I mean, every time I read that, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's profound, isn't it? And notice, it really echoes Genesis 1.1 in the beginning.
Oh, so he's intentionally connecting it back to the creation account.
Absolutely. He's saying, listen up. This word, it was there from the very beginning, even before creation itself.
Okay, so we're not talking about just any word here, right? This word is something bigger, something special.
Exactly. And that's where that Greek word logos comes in.
Ah, logos.
That word has such a rich history. Because in Jewish thought, that was, a way to refer to God himself. But then you have the Greek philosophers, and they saw logos as this, force behind universal order, like the principle of reason, logic.
So like the underlying order of the universe.
Yeah. And John brilliantly combines these ideas. He says the logos, the word, is Jesus.
Whoa. So Jesus is being presented as both the source of creation and this embodiment of divine reason all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Okay, my mind is already starting to bend a little bit here. And then we get the famous line, the Word was with God and the Word was God.
Oh.
It's a glimpse into the Trinity, right?
Exactly. You have this idea of the Father and the Son, distinct yet completely united.
Okay, I'm going to need a little bit of help here unpacking this. How does John explain what this word actually does? I mean, besides being with God and being God, what is its function?
He makes it very clear that everything that was made through the Word. No Jesus, no universe, and it goes beyond the physical stuff. The Word is also the source of life, physical and spiritual.
Okay.
John even calls him the light that shines for all humanity.
The light.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that light, the darkness can never put it out.
So there's this real strong contrast being set up right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Light versus darkness,
Right.
life versus, the absence of life. What does all this mean for us? Like, why should we care about this word, this light?
Well, John is saying that humanity is in this state of spiritual darkness.
Okay.
And we need this light to guide us.
Okay, so where does John the Baptist fit into all this?
Oh, he plays a crucial role.
Okay.
John the Baptist is like, he's the opening act. He's getting everyone ready for the main event.
Okay, yeah.
But he's constantly pointing away from himself.
Okay.
He says, I am not the light. I'm just here to tell you about the light.
To testify to the light.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I can see that. It's like a spotlight shining on the stage, and John saying, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jesus. So what happens when people actually encounter this light?
Well, here's where things get a little bit tricky. John points out that even though the Word created everything, a lot of people, they didn't even recognize him.
Wow.
They rejected him.
So their own creator is standing right there, and they miss him completely.
And he missed him completely. It's like they were blind to his presence.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. But I guess it also speaks to the power of free will, right?
Yeah.
That we have the choice to accept or reject the light.
Exactly. We have that choice. And that's what makes it so powerful when people do choose to believe.
Yeah.
And John says, anyone who accepts Jesus, who believes in his name, becomes part of God's family.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's not something you earn.
Right.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. And then John hits us with that incredible line, the Word became flesh.
Yes. The Incarnation. It's like, whoa, we're not just talking about abstract theological ideas anymore. We're talking about God literally entering into human history, into human experience.
He lived among us, full of grace and truth.
And John is saying, I saw this. I witnessed this glory firsthand.
He did.
Wow, he's like a firsthand witness to the divine. It's incredible.
And he uses this beautiful phrase, the Word became flesh and lived among us. And it echoes the way God dwelt among the Israelites in the tabernacle.
Oh, so it's like that same presence of God, but now it's not limited to a specific place. It's fully embodied in Jesus.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so Jane is making some really bold claims here. Does he offer any evidence for this? I mean, how does he back up these mind-blowing statements?
He does.
Okay.
He points to John the Baptist's testimony. John the Baptist says, this guy, he existed before me. He's greater than me. And he highlights how Jesus embodies grace and truth, that he goes beyond the law that was given through Moses.
So he's building his case.
He is. Using testimony, using these, powerful images, and then these really profound theological concepts. It's impressive.
It's a beautiful tapestry he's weaving. And it all leads to this. No one has ever seen God, but God, the one and only, who is at the Father's side, has made him known.
Wow. So Jesus is the ultimate revelation of God. He's the window into who God is.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the beauty of these opening verses. In just a few lines, John has introduced Jesus as the eternal Word, the source of creation, the light of the world, and the ultimate revelation of God. My mind is officially blown.
And we're just getting started. Remember, John's building a case here. He's leading you to a verdict.
Okay.
He's not just going to tell you who Jesus is. He's going to show you.
All right. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right.
What happens next? So you said that John doesn't just tell us about Jesus. He shows us.
Yes, he does.
So what does that look like in the rest of the gospel? How does he actually show us who Jesus is?
He uses these vivid stories, these signs. And they're not just random miracles. They're very intentionally crafted to point you toward a deeper understanding of Jesus's power and identity.
So they're like clues.
They're like clues, yeah.
Okay.
Little pieces of the puzzle.
I like that. So what are some of those signs? What are some of the stories that really stand out to you as revealing who Jesus is?
Well, you have to start with the wedding at Cana.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic.
Turning water into wine. I mean, who doesn't love that story?
Right.
Such a great party trick.
It is. It's a great party trick. But it's more than that.
Okay.
It's a sign pointing towards something deeper. It's about the transformation.
Okay.
And the abundance that Jesus brings into our lives. He takes something ordinary, like water.
Right.
And transforms it into something extraordinary, something that brings joy and celebration.
Yeah.
Wine.
Wine, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, saving the party.
It's not. No.
It's about revealing something deeper about who Jesus is and what he came to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the wedding at Cana. What are some of the other signs that stand out to you?
Well, there's the healing of the official's son.
Oh, yeah.
That's a powerful one.
This official comes to Jesus. He's desperate.
Right?
To save his dying child.
His son is at the point of death.
Yeah. And Jesus just says, go. Your son will live.
Wow. That's bold.
It is bold.
Oh.
And he doesn't perform any, elaborate ritual. He doesn't even go to see the boy.
He just speaks the word.
He just speaks the word.
And it's done.
I
mean, that's an incredible display of authority.
It is. And it makes you think about what it means to have faith. Because this official, he chooses to believe, even though he hasn't seen any physical evidence yet.
He's putting his trust in Jesus' word.
He's putting his trust in Jesus' word alone.
Right.
And that's really a key theme in John's gospel.
Okay.
True faith.
Yeah.
It's not about seeing to believe. It's about believing even when you can't see.
Yeah.
And of course, what happens? The son is healed. Yeah, so it's like that faith is rewarded.
It is.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes we have to take that leap of faith.
We do.
Even when it feels impossible.
Even when we can't see the outcome yet.
Exactly. And then you got another one, the feeding of the 5,000.
Oh, yes.
Another iconic miracle.
A classic.
Again, it's not just about providing physical food.
It's not. It's deeper than that.
There's something more going on there.
Absolutely.
What's John trying to show us with that miracle?
He's pointing to Jesus as the bread of life.
Ah, okay.
The one who can satisfy
our
deepest spiritual hunger.
It makes me think of that verse. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty.
It's about that deep longing we all have for something more, something that fills that void inside us. And John's saying, Jesus is the one who can satisfy that longing.
So powerful.
And then you have another one, the healing of the man born blind. Remember, the Pharisees, they're so focused on the rules.
Yeah.
They completely miss the miracle.
They're blind to the truth.
They are.
It's ironic, isn't it?
It's a great irony. It's this contrast between physical blindness and spiritual blindness.
Yeah.
The Pharisees, they couldn't see the truth even though it was right there in front of them.
But the blind man, he gets his sight back.
He does.
And he immediately recognizes Jesus for who he is.
Instantly. It's like that physical healing opened his eyes to a whole new reality.
Wow. That's powerful. And then, of course, you can't talk about the signs in John's gospel without talking about the raising of Lazarus.
Oh, yes. That's the climax.
The big one.
Of the signs.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate demonstration of Jesus' power over death.
It's not just about bringing Lazarus back to life.
It's not, no.
It's about something bigger, right?
It foreshadows Jesus' own resurrection.
Oh, wow.
Which John presents as the ultimate victory over death.
So we've got these 7 signs, each revealing a different aspect of who Jesus is and what he came to do.
Exactly.
It's like John's meticulously building this case, leading us to this inescapable conclusion.
He is.
That Jesus is the Son of God. But he doesn't stop there, right? He also includes these long discourses where Jesus is teaching.
He does.
So it's not just about these miraculous events.
No.
It's also about the words of Jesus, his teachings.
Absolutely. He has these discourses where Jesus really unpacks who he is and what he's all about.
I'm ready to dive into those teachings.
Okay.
What are some of the key themes that stand out to you in those discourses?
One of the most prominent is Jesus as the Good Shepherd.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about laying down his life for his sheep, knowing them intimately, calling them each by name.
It's such a beautiful picture of love and protection, belonging.
It is.
You know, it really resonates with that deep desire we all have to be part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yes, to be known and loved. And Jesus is the shepherd who gathers his flock and leads them to safety. But he's also very honest about the fact that following him, it won't be easy.
Okay.
There will be difficulties. There will be suffering.
So he doesn't sugarcoat it.
He doesn't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
He's very upfront about the cost of discipleship. But he also promises to be with his followers always.
Okay.
To give them strength and comfort through the Holy Spirit.
It's comforting to know we're not alone in those tough times.
It is.
That there's someone walking with us through the darkness. And then there's that beautiful image of the vine and the branches.
Oh, yes.
Where Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing.
That's such a powerful picture of the interconnectedness between Jesus and his followers.
We can't do anything apart from him.
He's the source of our strength.
He's the vine, we're the branches. We're drawing our nourishment from him.
Exactly.
So we've got the Good Shepherd, the challenges of discipleship, the vine and the branches. John's weaving all of these different ideas into this tapestry of what it means to have a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And then he culminates it all with the farewell discourse.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Where Jesus is preparing his disciples for his departure.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional section.
Yeah.
Full of comfort, encouragement, and promises. It's a powerful reminder that even in the face of death, love and hope prevail.
it really sets the stage for the climax of the story, the crucifixion. How does John handle that event?
Well, he portrays the crucifixion not as a defeat,
Oh,
but
yeah.
as the ultimate victory.
Wow.
The moment when love conquers death. It's like he's saying this isn't the end.
This is just the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have the resurrection.
Yeah. Does he just tell us that Jesus rose from the dead, or does he show us?
He shows us.
Okay. How does he do that?
Through these vivid encounters with Mary Magdalene,
Okay.
the disciples, and even Thomas,
Doubting Thomas.
who famously doubted
Yeah.
until he saw the nail marks in Jesus' hands.
I love that story. It's such a great reminder that it's okay to have doubts. It's all part of the journey of faith.
Absolutely. And then you have that beautiful scene where Jesus appears to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
It's like this beautiful restoration of their relationship after the trauma of the crucifixion. It's a fresh start, a new beginning, and a commissioning.
Oh, okay.
Because John ends his gospel
Yeah.
with this powerful declaration of purpose. He says, "These are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name."
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
He's taken us on this incredible journey,
Mm-hmm.
leading us through these signs, these teachings, pointing us towards faith in Jesus.
Yes. He's made his case.
He has.
And now he's saying, what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do with this story? It's not just a story to be admired, it's a call to action.
Absolutely.
It's an invitation to step into a relationship with Jesus.
A relationship that can change your life.
Wow.
It's about trusting him, following him,
Yeah.
allowing his love to shape everything you do.
This is amazing. This deep dive has been so eye-opening. It's really given me a whole new appreciation for John's gospel and the power of its message.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to that fragment we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That oldest piece of the New Testament.
It shows you the lasting impact of John's message. It still resonates today, centuries later.
It really does. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, it's amazing to me how much ground John covers in this gospel, and he does it all with such intentionality, such focus. It seems like every word, every story, every teaching, it's all geared towards bringing you to that point of believing that Jesus is the Son of God.
It really is remarkable how he does it. It's not through, dry theological lectures or these complicated arguments. It's through these vivid, captivating stories. He's a master storyteller.
He really is. He's painting this incredible picture of Jesus with his words, using these really profound teachings,
Yeah.
but also giving you these little glimpses into Jesus's heart. You really get a sense of who he is on a very personal level.
And he doesn't shy away from the hard parts either.
Yeah.
He's upfront about the fact that following Jesus will involve challenges. There will be suffering, even persecution. It's a very honest portrayal of what it means to be a disciple.
It's raw.
Yeah.
It's real. He's not sugarcoating the Christian life. He's showing us both the light and the darkness, the joy and the sorrow. And I think that's what makes it so powerful. It's that tension, that complexity. It's in those difficult questions that we really discover the depth of God's love for us.
I completely agree. And, one thing that really struck me throughout this deep dive is John's emphasis on light overcoming darkness. It's a theme that just keeps coming up again and again.
Yeah, it's everywhere you look in John's gospel. There's this constant interplay between light and darkness, good and evil, truth and falsehood. What do you think he's trying to say with this recurring motif?
Well, I think it speaks to our human experience. We all experience darkness in our lives. We go through times of doubt, fear, suffering, loss. But John's reminding us that the light of Christ is stronger. It has the power to cut through even the darkest night to guide us through those difficult times.
So it's a message of hope,
Absolutely.
of resilience,
Yes.
of the ultimate triumph of good over evil.
It's this unwavering belief that light will always prevail no matter how dark things might seem.
It's powerful stuff. And I think it speaks to a deep longing that we all share. We crave light, we crave truth, we crave connection. And John's gospel points us directly to the source of all of those things, Jesus Christ.
He is the light of the world. He is the truth. He is the way to the Father. He is the one who offers us true connection, both with God and with each other.
So we've explored John's unique perspective. We've unpacked those powerful signs, and we've wrestled with those challenging teachings. But here's the big question. What does it all mean for us today? How do we take these ancient words and apply them to our modern lives?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think John gives us a clue in his closing words. These are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name.
So it's not just about head knowledge. It's not just about intellectually assenting to a set of beliefs. It's about a faith that transforms your heart, a faith that changes the way you live your life.
Exactly. It's about entering into a relationship with Jesus, a relationship that has the power to change everything.
So how do we do that? What does that look like, practically speaking?
Well, it starts with a decision. A decision to trust Jesus, to follow him, to surrender your life to him. And then it's about allowing his love to shape your decisions, your priorities, your relationships, everything.
It's a tall order, but it's also incredibly exciting, to think that we can tap into that same power, that same love, that same grace that we see in Jesus. It's mind-blowing.
It is. It's a journey of transformation, a journey of becoming more like Christ. And it's not always easy. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns.
But we don't have to go it alone.
No, we don't. We have the Holy Spirit to guide us. We have the community of believers to support us. And we have the words of John's gospel to inspire us.
This deep dive has been truly eye-opening. It's given me a whole new appreciation for the Gospel of John and the power of its message.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I hope it sparked a desire in you to keep exploring, to keep digging deeper into the riches of this incredible book.
It definitely has for me. So as we wrap up, here's a thought for you to chew on. If John's whole point is to inspire belief in Jesus as the Son of God, what implications does that have for your understanding of yourself, your place in the universe, your purpose in life? It's a big question, but it's one worth wrestling with.
It is. It's a question that can lead us to a deeper understanding of who we are and why we're here.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Gospel of John. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this incredible book with us. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of faith.